Well, I was just standing at the sink here in the kitchen, looking out the window on the septic drain field, and I noticed that two of the grasses out there in the far back corner, can't do that with my finger, but those two right there that are like twins of each other. It's called morning light. They've really grown. And so then I looked over at the other corner and at the grass over there, and it's called gracilis, and it also has grown a lot. And so then I come back here to the beginning, to the front, and there's those two variegated grasses there called cabaret, and they've also grown a great deal. There's that one there, this one over here. So it's the warm weather. Those are warm season grasses, and that's why they're growing. I'm going to pause now, but then I'm going to go outside and walk around the field again. I did it recently, but not, I think, since some of this growth has taken place. I've gotten a lot more confidence about making videos and being able to upload them to YouTube so I can share them. So here I am outside now, looking again at the two cabaret grasses. These are all Miscanthus sinensis, by the way, if you wanted to know the species, called maiden grasses. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But within that Miscanthus sinensis species, there's all of these cultivars that have been created. So anyway, it's, what time is it? 12:24. So the sun's really bright right now. It's kind of hard to see the screen. But at the same time, it's a good time to take a video of the area because everything's illuminated well. So I'll just start here at this one end here, nearest my deck, and showing you the strawberries. These are beach strawberries, or shoreline strawberries, or coast strawberries, Fragaria chiloensis. And they have really begun to grow as well, and a lot of that is because I've given them more water. If you'll look over here, you'll see that they're sending out runners, just like normal strawberries do. And what I noticed is that those runners are sometimes standing proud off of the gravel. And I want them to be in contact with the gravel so that those little plantlets that are at the ends of the little plantlets that form along the stolon, that's what that is a stolon, can actually root. So like here's here's the mother plant, and then she sends out a runner this way and another one that way. Here's the mother plant here, and she's sending out a runner here and here and here and there and so on. So what I've done is I've put small rocks along the length of the runner to push those little plantlets closer to the gravel so that hopefully they'll send out roots and attach themselves by roots to the substrate. And this one group right here is one of my oldest plants, and some of the ones out to the sides are younger and they're smaller. So anyway, they're gradually filling in this area, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to be a ground cover for this very large bare area. Okay, so working my way toward the middle now. These two grasses here, these are Pennisetum grasses, have finally begun to grow some, but they're very, very slow and are staying rather small, which I think is probably okay. And there's another one over there. See it right there. And of course, one of the first plants that I ever put in the ground were these kinnick or bearberries. It's an Arctostaphylos, a manzanita. Okay, it's a ground manzanita, you might say. Ground cover manzanita. And so there's one of them there. And then there's another one out there, and they're just kind of sprinkled throughout the rest of the field. And eventually I'm hoping that they're going to grow together too and make a solid mass of ground cover. Let's see, what else? Sedums. Yep. I've got one sedum here that is doing fairly well. It's a little sulky, I think, with all of this dryness and heat. It probably likes it a little bit cooler and moister. It's called Sedum spurium John Creech. John Creech was a former director of the U.S. National Arboretum in Washington, and he's the one that discovered this particular clone. And then that little plant growing there with the little pom-pom flowers, that's sea thrift. And there's another one over here. And then over on this side is that real famous by now Delosperma cooperi in full bloom. Just a gorgeous plant. I've really come to enjoy this plant a lot. It's related to the ice plants that grow along the coast of California, but much smaller and more well-behaved, not as weedy. Now there's another sedum over there. That's a sedum setiform, or setiforme, which I think has beautiful architectural leaves to it, the way that they're arranged in a spiral. And let's see, here's a completely different kind of sedum, different in a different subgenus even. It's not even considered a true sedum by some people. But it's one of those that grows from more of a root underground and will, to a certain extent, die back in the wintertime. But right now it's getting ready to bloom. You can see the flowers beginning to form buds right there on the ends of the stems. It's Sedum caudicola. And then back over here are 3 Sedum spurium dragon's blood, which have been blooming, and I've been taking pictures of them. And more sedums over here. And these are also a little sulky. I don't think they like the full sun nearly as much as some of the others might. This is, let's see, Sedum Palmeri emarginatum. I don't think it has a common name. And then over here are some Sedum pachyclados, also no common name that I know of. 3 of them, very slow growing. I'm hoping that they'll eventually fill in between those 2 rocks there. And let's see. Oh, this is a really, really big manzanita here. Let's see how big it is by my hand. You see that? It's a good 2 feet one way and maybe 18 inches the other. And sending out runners too. I'm sort of in the middle of the drain field now, looking back at the back part of the design. All the grasses have just been doing really well for the last month or so since we had the warm weather. That, for instance, is a switchgrass, Panicum virgatum, and the cultivar is Shenandoah. There's the maiden grass I was telling you about, the Miscanthus gracilis. There, now that's about as tall as I am now. At least 5 feet tall at the tips of those leaves there. Just behind it is a shrub of currant, which produces fruits. Let's see, down here at my feet, so to speak, a different kind of Delosperma. This one flowers yellow, but it flowers earlier in the year, so it looks like it's pretty much done for the year. But there's 3 of them all together, and they're on either side of this jelly bean sedum, Sedum rubrotinctum, which is a plant that I received from my friend in Quebec, Canada, and it was hardy for him there, so I have high hopes for it. And then there's another one, just a clone of the same thing, just a cutting over on this side. More Arctostaphylos there, and here another Delosperma cooperi there, and another Arctostaphylos. Then there's like this line of Sedum kamchaticums, starting with this one, and then they go to there, and there, and there, and there, and there, sort of in a sinuate serpentine kind of arrangement. What else? Let's see. Oh, this is my rock rose, cistus, and the cultivar is called Jester. And it's finished blooming now. It was blooming every day for about 3 weeks in the late spring, but it's pretty well gone into its summer quietness. More sedums planted in front of this Miscanthus ursilumus. This one is, I think, without a common name, it's called Sedum immergruchen. Sedum immergruchen? See what they call that. They have a common name on here for it. Nope. It's one of those sedums that hasn't gotten a common name yet. But I have hopes that it will get much larger. There's 3 of them, so I'm hoping that they'll kind of form a mass around this Miscanthus grass. Let's see. At the back now, I planted these 4 Japanese blood grasses to sort of hide this frame that was here when I moved here. This is a frame that has been used for growing different vegetables. Potatoes last year, and there's even some volunteer potatoes still coming up. But the rest of them are strawberries this year. Over there and there. And it kind of doesn't belong with the rest of the motif of the drain field. So I'm hoping that these Japanese blood grasses will increase, grow in diameter, and eventually fill in across here and kind of hide that frame. It's a grass that will take over in normal soils, but it, like many other vigorous plants, is much more controlled and well behaved in this pure gravel. Here's a variegated grass that I'm really enjoying the look of. It's called zebra grass. It has that variegation running horizontally along each leaf. You can see right there. It was so good that I actually had enough to make a separate plant, and there is that. There it is. So these are holding down this area pretty nicely. And let's see, over here is a true Arctostaphylos. Now, this is a shrub that will get 4 to 5 feet each way in height and width. It's called Pacific Mist, and it was developed at the Rancho Santa Ana Botanical Gardens in Claremont, California, where I spent 4 days back several years ago now. Here's the 2 morning lights. Here's one. There's the other one. Let's see, back here is my comfrey. Indestructible. A native mock orange. This one is Lewis's mock orange, Philadelphus lewisii. Then over here are my blueberries, And I actually have harvested some fruits off of these this year. They're only a year old now. So here's that's gonna, if it's gonna read that or not. Yeah, okay, I see now. Good. Yeah, some of those are ready to pick. You can see. And then in these little nooks and crannies of the red cedar stump, I planted another sedum, Sedum ursii, variety homophyllum, and it's called Rosenteppich, which is German, I think, for rose carpet, red carpet. And there's another one over here. So we'll see how they do. This is a variety that should cascade down, which would be kind of nice if it cascaded down in front of this this wooden part of the stump. Let's see, over here is one of my raspberries. I had a bit of trouble this spring with some kind of an insect that was damaging it, so it didn't put out much in the way of raspberries this year. But it's very, very happy now. Actually, it's a beautiful plant. I've noticed a lot of the florists are using the leaves as a component in their flower designs. Let's see. Here's my big mound of hugel culture. Total big experiment. It's mainly just a place to put grass clippings and whatnot that I don't want to put into the green recycling container. Now this this grass here is another miscanthus again, yeah. But this one is separate from the Zebrinus over there, the zebras. And it's called porcupine grass, and don't ask me why. But it's much larger. The leaves are much larger too. So you can see that variegation really well in these leaves. And it loves the heat, and it's really been growing a lot faster than it has been. I've been putting a lot of water on it, not only for itself, but also for these sedums, these golden sedums that I've planted around it, thinking that the golden color of the sedums will be picked up in the golden variegation of the grass itself. And I hope this will all eventually fill in and make a mass around the grass. Okay, so that's pretty much it as far as this area is concerned. You can see the frame here again from another direction with the strawberries. These strawberries have had a lot of trouble. I think the deer have probably been eating them. So they've been pretty set back. A lot of these, for instance, don't have leaves anymore. They were all clipped off on the very topmost part. But they'll eventually all grow back. This is potatoes coming up from last year. I've just let them go. Here's the currant again, red currant. And then over here in the shade now, pretty soon it won't be. You can see the sun up there, is my cherry tree. This is early burlap cherry. Came to this country from Morocco in the mid-30s, so it's a very, very old variety. And it was completely stripped of leaves last year by the deer. And so I decided this year they weren't going to be able to get at those leaves. And as a result, it's done real well. It even produced a few cherries, which the robins enjoyed. But it has put on a new branch going straight up. So that's going to be the apically dominant branch that will lead the growth for the rest of the plant itself. Well, let's see. How long have I been going? 20 minutes. Might be time to stop because otherwise it'll take forever to upload this to YouTube. I have a very slow connection here. Just a few last things. Mints. I love mints. So I planted a peppermint there. And I've seen peppermints before, but I've never grown one myself. And it actually gets pretty large. I'm surprised. And then over here, just next to the hose bib, are spearmint, all of my spearmints. And then this is actually the mint garden itself right here. Planted just at the end of the steps coming down from my deck. And all of the rocks that you see as the border, they all came from digging out this bed. So wherever I dug to get the grass out, I found all these rocks there. Okay, so moving back, you can see sort of the whole mint garden now. It's done real well. Everything in there is a mint, with the exception of in the back there, there's a Shasta daisy and a daylily, but other than that, these are all members of the mint family. So, Salvia gregii there from Texas. This is an orange mint there. 2 sage plants. Marjoram, rosemary, 2 big plants of winter savory, which is kind of an unusual herb. A lot of people don't know. I certainly didn't. That's lemon balm, trying to take over the world, but I've kept it back. And this is Perovskia, Russian sage. Just now blooming. It really likes the full sun. So it's actually reaching out away from the house because it doesn't get as much sun as it would like. It would like about 2 or 3 hours more than it's getting. And yeah, here's my deck. My venerable Dicea is still putting up a flower stalk. This is one of my agaves here. And one of the sedums that I'm not going to put into the ground. It's Isle of Sakhalin sedum plurical. There's my rat trap. I got a mouse this morning instead of a rat. My good old Hawes watering can. And then over here on this corner of the deck is my jade plant. Another rosemary, a different one. This is called Tuscan Blue. My old rose geranium, which is really a pelargonium. And then my sedum oreganum, Oregon sedum, which is still blooming. Looking good. And over here is my arrow bamboo. I've had an arrow bamboo every time I've lived somewhere, and this was my newest one to replace the one from Lodi that I actually gave to a friend of mine. So, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and shut off now. Go have some lunch and start uploading this to YouTube. So until next time, hasta la vista.